Hello, welcome to the Chinese Super League show brought to you by Orientivity. The CSL, of course, on an extended 2-week break with the internationals coming up very shortly. The FA Cup was going on this past weekend with some of the lower ranking sides involved. Here with Rish Roshan Rai to talk about, well, some of the things that have been going on since the CSL started. Let's talk about Shandong Luneng because they are right at the top of the CSL. And this is great for a side, of course, that struggled last season. They finished 14th. But we're happy with what we're seeing so far from them.
Very happy with what we're seeing so far, and you look at Felix Magath coming in and didn't exactly have an immediate impact at the club last season. Took him some time to get sort of his tactics across to his players, but what I like about how it's worked out now is they play a very simple style of play. They make very good use of Graziano Pella. You know, they're not going to play the ball through midfield, pass it around teams. They're going direct into the big man up front, and then they're going very quick to get runners in and around, supporting him and finding those goals. I thought, they were excellent in that win against Guangzhou Evergrande.
That was a big shock, wasn't it?
Big shock and a huge win for them. I think Hao Junmin in central midfield for the Shandong Luneng side. I think he's been excellent in the first 2 games so far. Very good start for them. Tardelli as well, who we thought wouldn't survive under Felix Magath, but he played in that game against Guangzhou and he got himself on the end of a Pella knockdown to give them all 3 points in that one.
Yeah, Magath has got that reputation, hasn't he, for being a strict disciplinarian, so that might suit some and maybe not others. Another side that's doing fantastically well at the moment, right at the very top of the CSL, SIPG, who are the only side, I think, in Asia at the moment who've got a perfect record. They've won every single game in the CSL and in the Champions League. Great to see the way they've approached games. You're a bit concerned though.
I am a bit concerned. I don't think there's too much to worry about, but you look at the fixtures and perhaps they've been a little bit favourable towards Shanghai SIPG, whereas when you look at Guangzhou, they've had a tough start, playing Beijing in the first game, Shandong in the second. Shanghai, played Changchun and then they played Yanbian, so you expected a team of...
These are bankers, aren't they?
You expect a team of quality that Shanghai have, to pick up 6 points from those games, but you look at them, their form in the Champions League as well. They've been superb, and I look at them and I think, look, they've almost got that sewn up. I think they're into the next round of that competition. It gives them an opportunity now to focus fully on the domestic league. But big tests are coming in the next couple of weeks or so in the Chinese Super League in terms of their fixtures. Guangzhou, when they return from this international break, they'll have to face Guangzhou Evergrande. So there'll be a big test of their credentials, and then we'll see perhaps if they really are going to be challengers this season.
Okay, so we've looked at the teams that have done pretty well so far. Let's look at the major disappointments, Roshan, in the CSL. We're going to talk about defending champions Guangzhou Evergrande and Jiangsu Suning, star-studded Jiangsu, who are near the bottom of the table, but they're going perfectly in the Champions League. A kind of a Leicester City moment for them.
Interesting that you mentioned Leicester City there. I mean, you're absolutely right. They look like they're very comfortable, just like Shanghai SIPG in terms of progressing into the next stage of the AFC Champions League. I think what helped them in that Champions League competition was the fact that Teixeira could play, obviously with a suspension in the domestic league, picking up a red card against Shanghai Shenhua. They struggle without their foreign imports. Roger Martinez as well, picking up a hamstring injury in that first game against Shanghai. The local boys have got to step up in terms of providing that goal threat for them. Otherwise, you get a little bit worried about Jiangsu. They do create opportunities, but that finishing touch, that moment where you need that quality, it's not quite there for this Jiangsu side at the moment.
Bizarre, because they are scoring for fun in the Champions League, well, kind of anyway, not really doing so in the Super League. What about Guangzhou? Because defending champions, we already talked about their loss to Shandong, having some mixed times in the Champions League as well.
Well, picking up the Super Cup, I thought they looked decent in that game, but aside from that, they haven't really been fantastic. I don't think their performances have been that fluid. Goulart is such a quality player, but I like to see him perhaps get a little bit more involved with this
Guangzhou, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. They haven't really found a way to try and balance it out between the AFC Champions League and the Chinese Super League just yet. But you look at their form in the Champions League, they're not doing that great as well. You think that that's a group that they should be qualifying from. Pretty straightforward for them, that one. Only 4 points, I think, 4 or 5 points.
5 points at the moment, but they're in a group where no one seems to want to take the bull by the horn, so maybe that's working in their favour. But at the moment, looking at them per se, it's not been terribly convincing.
It hasn't been terribly convincing, but having said that, it's been a tough start for them domestically with the fixtures that they've had. So it should hopefully get a little bit easier for them when they come back from the international break. We've spoken about them going up against Shanghai SIPG, and then they've got the Guangzhou Derby the week after that. So it's not going to get any easier, but the pre-season predictions for Guangzhou Evergrande was champions easily. They're going to pick up their 7th title. Well, it's been a little bit tough, and not, that's why you want to see that character coming out for this Guangzhou Evergrande side.
Well, I'll tell you what, they may not be doing very well domestically or even in the Champions League, but they have still got 7 players in the China national squad. They're, of course, in action against the likes of Korea and Iran. It doesn't get easy for the only team to have not won a single game in Group A, and it looks unlikely that they will qualify. But Marcello Lippi has mixed a lot of experience with some newbies.
Well, you mentioned those 7 players from Guangzhou Evergrande in there, and of course you need to have Wu Lei in your side, the outstanding Chinese player over the last few years or so. I think it gives him an opportunity to try and test certain things tactically out, an opportunity to maybe bring some newer players in. I know there's a player from Changchun Yatai in there who scored a wonderful goal.
Yeah, Fan Xiaodong.
Fan Xiaodong, a great goal in that game, just to get them the lead in that one. So it'll be nice to see if he gets an opportunity in this game, in these international matches for this China side. Could be winning his 3rd cap for the national team, but I don't think there's too much pressure on them. I don't think they're going to qualify this time around. Maybe the next World Cup, and hopefully the local players start to get more game time, develop in the Chinese Super League. But look, it's an opportunity for them to try and impart some new tactical ideas in this Chinese national team.
They say that every time, don't they? The next World Cup we'll get to. Well, we wish them the best of luck anyway, and thank you very much for joining us here on the Chinese Super League show, brought to you by Orientivity. Of course, do join our Facebook page. The address is right below, and you can also leave us your comments. Till the next time, we'll see you very soon.